Etifa Kababa de Likee TV na message and the batch nation no hit adomano subscribe say drop in the latest news bia obejebre na sa etimi akabi na ye bora in seminoma etifo na the latest news etimi abebom no yes Martin Kpebu aka no biem na this time no em say wakodi papa na say wotremu say ECG eka eda ho buburu no say na former president President Nana Dankwa ni so-called family and Kesi for they were interfering. Say omona Japano no more akuto fuel na be power plant na amagana for enya light na ensema we hwegu ho no me pese ajebre na ye borom ye kotie and scandals ne ne metimi ko so bi ye ba de ka ho bia no ye de mo ensem bebre mom.
Vic was asked, you were under declaring. Is it a crime to under declare? How? Is it a crime to under-declare revenue? Can you imagine? So I'm telling you that this matter of ECG, corruption is the #1 problem. Yeah. All right? People close to Akufo-Addo, his family members, were the people buying fuel for ECG? Who was checking whether fuel was really delivered or not? Ask ECG. People close to Akufo-Addo's family. Were the people buying fuel? Yes, I'm telling you.
You know that how?
You check. Fuel. Ask them who was buying. The company. Who owns the company?
What should I check?
Akufo-Addo's relations. You know, so listen, look, let's stop this privatization thing. I like what Jay said. Let's drill deep. The real problem is corruption, it's thievery. Even when we say corruption, we are not saying it. It's thievery that is causing most of this problem. So if you want to get
how are we going to stop the thievery? That's the issue.
So that's the noise we are making here. You see, we are all making noise. We are, I mean, when I say noise, I mean a positive. We are being exactly. I like that. So right now, as we are talking,
when the first step is to stop every prosecution.
No. There's some of the prosecutions they were bad. Atufo soon. Government he was coaching a witness. Asking the witness to lie.
And the court found out.
The court will not always be right. You think the court...
Counsel,
you don't know.
If you don't believe in the court, it will not always be fair.
Exactly.
I don't like that.
If you undermine the court system, we are all dead.
If you don't raise questions to against the court some of the time, they will reform, please. So you always need a bit of skepticism.
Yes.
I want Martin Kpebu to make his point.
Okay.
I'll come to you when your time is up.
So
how do we fight or address this?
So all right. Thank you very much for reminding me, Dr. Tukuno. It's all right. So we'll recover all the loot, implement, enforce the law. Enforce the law, because I was telling you that elsewhere, government is getting more into business. Thatcher, who came and told us, hey, privatization, neoliberal economics, privatize, cut down, structural adjustment, this. They themselves, look, there is British, Business Bank. British Business Bank just set up recently to give loans to their own companies. They are setting up. You go to the North Sea where they do the oil and gas. Government is supporting other sectors of the economy. Go to the US, you find government in there, right? So this thing about, let the market work, give to private companies, it's not on the table. We are not going to allow here. Dr. Tukuno mentioned how Obama
don't say you don't allow the market to work.
No, the market exactly. So,
you see,
Dr. Tukuno mentioned, I'm landing.
You see, the issue about corruption, you said this is thievery.
It's thievery, that's our main problem.
The fundamental concern here is, if that's the case, and I asked this question because you had a mandate to fight corruption somewhat in this administration as well. You've done your work. You are done. But after oral, how do we prevent? That's what Professor Kpebu, as I was saying, Operation Prevent All Loot. After oral, OPAL. How do you expect this corruption or thievery to be fought by this administration in the coming days?
Good. So we've started Right? That's what we are doing around this table.
Sunshine campaign.
Exactly. Naming and shaming, and even for those with no name, by constantly saying that, no, we want to fight corruption. Corruption has no place in our society. It's part of the fight, because so basically I keep telling some people that we are also preaching here, preaching to ourselves and preaching to our audience that let's stop, because corruption has destroyed us for far too long, right? That's one. Then two, you see the investigations that are ongoing. Earlier on today, we mentioned Gift Owari answering questions. Professor Emiya Ekunfi went in earlier. He and Joe Gatti, Joe Gatti, former railway minister, and those people. They are also answering questions on the Phantom Sky Train, the Sky Train that never came. And yet we paid $2 million. Can you imagine? So they are answering questions. There are more cases, right? More cases. So that is it. Investigations and prosecutions. So we are doing the normal things that are to be done. And if we did those right, we would make a lot of progress, right? So tying all of this in, what we're saying is that, please, it's not esoteric. Our main problem is thievery and the political patronage. These are the things. Thievery and political patronage. If we were to do the right things, we would make progress. I mean, ECG can't make such losses. You see, one of the cases that Ufuriata is wanted for, there was a company that ECG had engaged to help reduce the losses. And it's one of the areas of OSP is investigating on corruption. Corruption came in there. A company brought in to help reduce ECG's losses. Then that company said corruption. You see that it's just like UK. There was this anti-corruption minister, Tulip, about a month and a half ago. Tulip was appointed as anti-corruption minister. She herself, it turned out that she was linked to Sheikh Hasina, the Bangladeshi former prime minister, blah, blah. Long story short, they thought that no, there was corruption around her. She herself had to leave. So the point, so you see, even the UK, where they are ahead of us, they are fighting corruption. Corruption minister herself was suddenly smelling corruption. They had to kick her out, right? And then bring somebody else. So the point I'm making is that the fact that we fail doesn't mean we should stop. I like what Dr. Tukono said. We can't just say privatization. Me, I've told you, people have shown rise and fall of the neoliberal order. This privatizations is gone. Governments are getting more into business. Let our government be there. But let the system work. Let the system work. And that's what we are doing now. And I like this example. Let's keep quoting it because it motivates us. Today, JM has put in 60 ministers. Didn't this conversation start over 20 years ago? Check. Ekufuor came, yes. Atamils came, all of them. Then gradually there were promises. But today, JM is delivered it. Yes. At least the fact that the main ministers is 60. Professor Addo, the point I'm making is that public opinion is one. Yeah. So one other thing we are not putting up in our discussions is that we forget that society takes time to evolve. So we need to give ourselves a bit of time.
Effort.
And effort. But in terms of the effort, leadership. I think we are, and leadership, in terms of the effort, I think we are pushing now than ever. And the results of the elections tells you that citizens are pushing. No, because who could have dreamt NDC beat NPP by 1.6 million in Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana? No. I remember not too long, 2 decades ago, NPP to attend NDC people, University of Ghana. If you were NDC, they used to attend meetings in the night. Yes. Dead of the night.
It's very
true. To crawl to attend.
When we were in school.
Exactly. And if you were said to be NDC, let's say you were an intellectual. Yes. University of Ghana. I look back and I'm like, what? The party that you couldn't openly associate with. You had to attend meetings. People were attending meetings in the night. And if you are caught, even you'll be ponded.
The meeting doesn't last 1 hour.
Exactly. Okay. You see? So the point is, I tell you that there's a change. Ghanaians can see that no, some people came touting themselves. We have all the men. They tended to they came out, or it turned out that they were incompetent, right? So why don't we go with the one who will be more humble and will engage us more? But the point in all of this, I'm saying, is that society takes time to evolve. Look, I've read a lot of American history, right? this election stealing, corrupt. It's the same. And even the private sector people are saying privatize. Let's use one example. I was on that point when I was distracted. I left it. Dr. Tukono mentioned how Obama used socialist ideas to re-engineer the collapse of the markets, right?
The housing.
Yes. What caused it? Was it not greedy capitalists? What did they subprime lending? What caused that problem? They saw people who weren't qualified for loans, and yet because of greed, gave them loans. A self-fulfilling prophecy. So it was only time, and then the loans would go bad. So here we are preaching that suddenly the businessmen are the angels, and the private sector the devil. It's not true. It's human beings. Public sector is made of the devils, and the private sector are angels. You can't get it. When you say that, then it means you don't even understand. We don't even appreciate who private sector people are. Very greedy for profit. Very, very greedy for profit. A typical businessman is there to make profit. He's not there looking for the public good. So when you keep saying privatize, no. Subprime lending. The whole of the world was thrown into economic hardship, right? As early as 2007, 2008. The housing crisis, that collapsed bank, Merrill Lynch, Bears and Stern, etc. collapsed. It was socialism that eventually saved them, as Dr. Tukuno made a point. But so human beings are greedy. It's neither private nor public. It's about human beings and the systems working.
Appropriate institutions that are charged with dealing with this issue are allowed to deal with them. We are always trying to come in and pastors will be brought, imams will be brought, chiefs will be brought to come and beg and the rest. But no, until we hold people responsible for their action. We workers, we are held responsible when we go wrong, when we go foul. It's in our collective agreement. Disciplinary action processes are taken, and when someone has to even be sacked for finding himself at the wrong side of the rules of the game, that is done. And we expect the same thing to be done for heads of public institutions as well as political leaders. That is what, otherwise, as workers, we are very committed. We have one of the most qualified workforce in the world all over. We should harness that, let our systems work, and we will contribute to productivity.
How do you react to those who say, for instance, the civil servants and the public sector workers, they know the in and out of the organization, and if a minister or anybody will succeed or will be able to know how to run around things and get corrupt, it is with the assistance of the workers in some of these state-owned enterprises?
Actually, I always say that nobody ever steals government body without collaboration of the accountants and the hierarchy.
Well, you see, that is why I'm telling you that the auditors report, for instance, when they come, they identify some of these things. It is the failure to take action on them which makes other people think that they can come and do it and go scot-free. So that's why I'm recommending that whatever findings the Auditor General has made on any corrupt activity in public institutions should be fully pursued and dealt with. It will serve as deterrent. I rather encourage heads or boards of public institutions to work with the workers, direct them, and let them know that these are their visions and this is what they want to do to improve their fortunes. We want good conditions of service. We want to work and be productive and be rewarded for what we do. And I think if we make sure these things are done, we can deal with the issues of both corruption in the public service so far as public sector workers and management of public sector organizations are concerned.
So, Dr. Otokono, you commissioned Oral. They've done their work. You are recovering what has been looted. But what could be looted? The call is on you to prevent it. So how do you intend to do this differently from what we've seen right now? And why should we be convinced that you will fight corruption, really?
First of all, I think that the people of Ghana are in a position of confidence right now when it comes to President Mahama, because the issue about the fight against corruption, again, I will go to Professor Stephen Addo, It's also about leadership. And it is incremental. And the efforts, the singular efforts matter.
Okay.
President Mahama, when he was a president, showed amply that he detests corruption. And he is willing and ready to fight corruption head on. And I always say, past when he was president.
Well,
President Mahama is the only sitting president, who conducts investigation into various agencies headed by his appointees without even their knowledge. And he is able to receive the report and take action. And in some instances, release the reports for public consumption. We talk about JIDA and people, accuse President Mahama of JIDA. What people do not know is that President Mahama was the one who commissioned the investigations into the JIDA matter and released the report and got officers responsible jailed. His own friend, very good friend, he served in parliament with, and I know this man very well, Abu Gapeli.
Yeah, the master Susamo Jebra Daily Update TV.